The unexpected arrival. The gleaming spires of Galactic University pierce the lavender sky of Nexus Prime, a testament to the collaborative achievement of a dozen sentient species. For centuries, this prestigious institution had been the pinnacle of higher education in the known universe, a melting pot of the galaxy's brightest minds. Yet today, an unprecedented event was about to shake its very foundations. Zara Chen, a 19-year-old human girl from Earth, stepped off the interstellar transport, her heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. She was the first human ever to set foot on this alien world, let alone attend its most esteemed university. The weight of representing her entire species pressed heavily on her shoulders. As Zara emerged from the docking bay, she was immediately struck by the sheer diversity of life forms around her. Towering, crystalline beings glided past on fields of energy. Amorphous creatures of living plasma pulsed with vibrant colors. Multi-limbed entities scuttled by on appendages that seemed to defy physics. It was a far cry from the familiar faces of her hometown in New Singapore. "Welcome to Galactic University, Terran Zara Chen," a melodious voice chimed in her head. Zara jumped, then remembered the neural translator she'd been fitted with before departure. A holographic projection materialized before her, taking the form of a shimmering, androgynous figure. "I am ARIA, the Artificial Responsive Intelligence Assistant. I will be your guide during your stay here." Zara nodded, clutching her bag tighter. "Thank you, ARIA. I'm a little overwhelmed." "That is a common reaction for new arrivals," ARIA replied. "Please follow the designated path to the orientation hall. Your belongings will be transferred to your assigned quarters." As Zara made her way through the bustling campus, she couldn't help but notice the curious stares and whispers that followed her. Some aliens recoiled at her appearance, while others leaned in, fascinated. She heard snippets of conversation through her translator. "Is that the new bipedal species? So fragile-looking. How do they achieve spaceflight? I heard their planet is mostly water. Disgusting." Zara felt her cheeks burn with embarrassment and a touch of indignation. She'd known it wouldn't be easy being the sole representative of humanity, but the reality was hitting her hard. The orientation hall was a vast amphitheater filled with beings of all shapes and sizes. Zara found herself seated between a gelatinous creature that seemed to breathe through its skin and a tall, avian being with iridescent feathers. The avian turned its sharp gaze on her, tilting its head in curiosity. "You are the human," it asked, its voice a melodic trill. Zara nodded. "Yes, I'm Zara. Nice to meet you." The avian's feathers ruffled in what Zara hoped was a friendly gesture. "I am Kriax of the Cyrene Collective. Your species is unexpected. We look forward to observing your academic performance." Before Zara could respond, a hush fell over the hall. A holographic projection of a being Zara could only describe as a sentient nebula appeared at the center of the amphitheater. "Greetings, new students of Galactic University." The being's thoughts resonated directly in Zara's mind. "I am Chancellor Zonthor. Today marks a historic occasion as we welcome our first student from the newly discovered planet Earth." All eyes turned to Zara, who felt herself shrinking in her seat. "Human Zara Chen, please stand," Chancellor Zonthor requested. On shaky legs, Zara rose. The Chancellor's nebulous form seemed to smile, if such a thing were possible. "We extend our warmest welcome to you, representative of Earth. Your presence here is a testament to your species' potential and our commitment to fostering understanding across the galaxy. We look forward to the unique perspectives you will bring to our halls of learning." As Zara sat back down, a murmur rippled through the crowd. She caught fragments of doubt, curiosity, and even some hostility. It was clear that her journey here was just the beginning of a much greater challenge. The orientation proceeded, with ARIA providing a constant stream of information about the university's history, academic programs, and facilities. Zara's head spun as she tried to absorb it all. The sheer scale of knowledge available was staggering. entire fields of study that humanity had never even conceived of. After the orientation, Zara made her way to her assigned quarters. The room was a perfect sphere, with surfaces that seemed to shift and adapt to her needs. It was alien, yet somehow comforting. As she began to unpack, a gentle chime indicated a visitor. The door dissolved, revealing Kriax, the avian being from the orientation. As Zara sat back down, a murmur rippled through the crowd. She caught fragments of doubt, curiosity, and even some hostility. It was clear that her journey here was just the beginning of a much greater challenge. The orientation proceeded, with AOIA providing a constant stream of information about the university's history, academic programs, and facilities. Zara's head spun as she tried to absorb it all. The sheer scale of knowledge available was staggering, entire fields of study that humanity had never even conceived of. After the orientation, Zara made her way to her assigned quarters. The room was a perfect sphere, with surfaces that seemed to shift and adapt to her needs. It was alien, yet somehow comforting. As she began to unpack, a gentle chime indicated a visitor. The door dissolved, revealing Kriax, the avian being from the orientation. "Human Zara," Kriax chirped. "I hope I am not intruding. I thought you might appreciate some guidance on your first day of classes tomorrow." Zara smiled, grateful for the gesture of friendship. "That would be wonderful, thank you." As Kriax explained the intricacies of the university's schedule and customs, Zara felt a glimmer of hope. Perhaps she could find her place here after all. The next morning, Zara entered her first class, Comparative Xenobiology. The lecture hall was filled with a dizzying array of life forms, each more bizarre than the last. The professor, a being that seemed to be made entirely of swirling gases, materialized at the front of the room. Today, the professor's thoughts echoed in their minds. "We have a unique opportunity. We will be studying the biology of our newest galactic neighbors, humans." Zara felt her stomach drop as all eyes turned to her once again. "Human Zara, would you mind serving as our specimen for today's class?" Swallowing hard, Zara stood and made her way to the front of the room. As she stood there, feeling more like a lab experiment than a student, she realized that her greatest challenge wouldn't be the academic rigor of Galactic University. It would be proving that humanity deserved its place among the stars. The professor's gaseous form swirled with interest. "Now, class, observe the bipedal structure, the exposed epidermis, the primitive respiratory system. Note the inefficient method of vocal communication." Zara felt a surge of defensiveness. "Excuse me, Professor," she interrupted, her voice steady despite her nervousness. "While our biology may seem primitive to you, humans have achieved remarkable things. Our adaptability and ingenuity have allowed us to overcome our physical limitations." The professor paused, surprised by the interruption. "Interesting. Please elaborate, Human Zara." Taking a deep breath, Zara launched into an impromptu lecture on human achievements, from the pyramids to space exploration, from the internet to nanotechnology. As she spoke, she noticed the alien students leaning forward, their curiosity piqued. When she finished, there was a moment of silence. Then, to her surprise, a ripple of appreciative murmurs spread through the class. The professor's gaseous form shimmered in what Zara hoped was approval. "Most enlightening, Human Zara. It seems we have much to learn from each other." As Zara returned to her seat, she caught Kriak's eye. The avian gave her a subtle nod of respect. For the first time since her arrival, Zara felt a sense of belonging. She might be the only human on this alien world, but she was determined to show the galaxy what humanity was truly capable of. The rest of the day passed in a blur of new experiences and information. Zara's mind raced with concepts that challenged everything she thought she knew about the universe. In quantum probability engineering, she grappled with the idea of manipulating reality itself. Psychic resonance theory introduced her to the fundamentals of telepathic communication. Each class left her exhilarated and humbled in equal measure. As the twin suns of Nexus Prime set, casting an ethereal glow across the campus, Zara found herself sitting on a floating platform in one of the university's anti-gravity gardens. She watched alien students of all kinds interact, study, and relax in the weightless environment. "Mind if I join you?" a voice chirped. Zara turned to see Kriax hovering nearby. "Please," she gestured to the space beside her. Kriax settled onto the platform, his feathers rustling softly. "You handled yourself well today, human Zara. Many of us were skeptical about your kind's readiness for galactic society, but perhaps we were too quick to judge." Zara smiled. "We humans have a saying, don't judge a book by its cover. There's often more to someone, or something, than what you see at first glance." Kriax tilted his head, processing the idiom. "A wise sentiment. I look forward to learning more about your species' wisdom." As they sat there, watching the alien world around them, Zara felt a surge of determination. She may be just one human girl, but she carried the hopes and dreams of her entire species with her. And she was ready to show the galaxy that humanity was more than ready to take its place among the stars. Little did Zara know that her arrival at Galactic University was about to set in motion a chain of events that would change the course of galactic history forever. Adaptation and discovery. As weeks passed at Galactic University, Zara found herself settling into a routine that was anything but ordinary. Each day brought new challenges and discoveries, pushing the boundaries of her understanding of the universe. In her xenolinguistics class, Zara excelled unexpectedly. Her human brain's capacity for pattern recognition and linguistic adaptation surprised even the most skeptical of her alien classmates. Professor Xylo, a crystalline being whose thoughts manifested as shimmering light patterns, took particular interest in Zara's progress. "Human Zara," Xylo's thoughts resonated in the class's minds one day. "Your species' linguistic flexibility is intriguing. Perhaps you could demonstrate your ability to learn our crystalline harmonic language." Zara stood, feeling the weight of expectation from her peers. She closed her eyes, recalling the intricate patterns of light and sound that formed the base of the language. Taking a deep breath, she began to sing. The melody that emerged from her throat was unlike anything she had ever produced before. Harmonics layered upon harmonics, creating a symphony of light and sound that danced through the air. When she opened her eyes, she saw her classmates staring in awe. Even Professor Xylo's crystalline form seemed to vibrate with surprise. "Extraordinary," Xylo's thoughts whispered. "In all my cycles of teaching, I've never witnessed a non-crystalline being master our language so quickly." As word of Zara's linguistic feat spread across campus, she found herself becoming something of a minor celebrity. Alien students from various departments sought her out, eager to learn more about human languages and culture. It was during one of these impromptu cultural exchange sessions that Zara met Zix, a multi-dimensional being whose form seemed to shift and change with each passing moment. Zix's curiosity about Earth was insatiable. "Tell me, Zara," Zix's thoughts danced in her mind, "is it true that humans create art solely for aesthetic pleasure, with no practical application?" Zara smiled, pulling out her sketchbook, a rarity in the digital age, but something she treasured. "We do. Here, let me show you." As she began to draw, explaining the concept of visual art to Zix, a small crowd gathered. Aliens of various species watched in fascination as an image took shape on the paper, a landscape of Earth with rolling hills, a flowing river, and a sky full of stars. "But what does it do?" asked a gelatinous being, its form rippling with confusion. "It doesn't do anything," Zara explained. "It's meant to evoke emotion, to capture a moment or an idea." The concept seemed to both baffle and intrigue her alien audience. Soon, Zara found herself giving impromptu art lessons, teaching beings with tentacles, pincers, and energy appendages how to hold a pencil and make marks on paper. As Zara's circle of friends grew, so did her confidence. She began to see her humanity not as a limitation, but as a unique strength. Her ability to think outside the box, a very human trait, often led to innovative solutions in her classes. It was in her quantum probability engineering class that Zara's human perspective would lead to an unexpected breakthrough. The class had been working on a complex problem involving the manipulation of quantum states to influence probability fields. While her classmates approached the problem using standard galactic mathematical models, Zara found herself thinking about it in terms of Earth veins of chance. What if we think of it like shuffling a deck of cards? She mused aloud, drawing curious looks from her alien peers. Professor Quix, a being of pure energy, paused in his lecture. Elaborate, human Zara. Zara stood, her excitement building as she explained her idea. She drew parallels between quantum states and card suits, probability fields and card shuffling techniques. As she spoke, holographic representations of her ideas began to form in the air around her, a feature of the classroom responding to the strength of her thoughts. And so, by applying this shuffling technique to the quantum field, we could potentially influence probability on a much larger scale than previously thought possible, she concluded. The classroom was silent for a moment, then erupted into a flurry of excited discussion. Professor Quick's energy form pulsed with what Zara had come to recognize as intense interest. Human Zara, your analogical thinking has led to a fascinating hypothesis. This merits further investigation. In the days that followed, Zara found herself at the center of a research team, working to develop her quantum shuffling theory into a workable model. The implications were staggering, potentially revolutionizing fields from space travel to medicine. As exciting as her academic breakthrough was, it was a chance encounter that would set Zara on a path to an even greater discovery. Late one night, as she was leaving the quantum engineering lab, she quite literally bumped into Professor Zorax, a renowned cynoarchaeologist. "My apologies, Professor," Zara said, helping to steady the tall insectoid alien. "No harm done, human Zara." Zorax clicked, his compound eyes focusing on her. "Actually, your arrival is quite fortuitous. I've been meaning to speak with you about a sensitive matter." Intrigued, Zara followed Zorax to his office. The room was filled with artifacts from 100 worlds, each stranger than the last. Zorax carefully closed the door behind them. "I've been following your progress here at the university with great interest," Zorax began, mandibles twitching nervously. "Your species' unique way of thinking could be invaluable to a project I'm working on." "What kind of project?" Zara asked, curiosity piqued. Zorax leaned in, voice dropping to a whisper. "We've discovered something, out on the fringes of known space. An artifact of immense power and unknown origin. None of our greatest minds have been able to decipher its purpose or function. I believe a human perspective might be just what we need." Zara's mind raced with the implications. Why me? Why not contact Earth's governments or scientific institutions? Zorax's compound eyes seemed to darken. "Politics, my dear. The discovery is controversial. Many believe it should be left alone, but the potential benefits to all sentient life could be immeasurable. We need someone who can think differently, someone not bound by centuries of galactic scientific doctrine." As Zorax spoke, a holographic image appeared between them, a strange, geometric object that seemed to shimmer and shift, defying the laws of physics as Zara understood them. "Will you help us, Zara? Will you join the research team?" Zara stared at the hologram, feeling as though she stood on the precipice of something monumental. Every fiber of her being thrummed with excitement and a touch of fear. This was why she had come to Galactic University, not just to learn, but to make a difference. "I'm in," she said, her voice firm with resolve. Zorax's mandibles clicked in what Zara had learned was an expression of satisfaction. "Excellent. We begin tomorrow. But remember, absolute secrecy is crucial. The fate of more than just our academic careers may rest on this project." As Zara left Zorax's office, her mind whirled with possibilities. She had come to Galactic University as an ambassador for humanity, hoping to prove her species' worth. Now, she found herself poised to potentially change the course of galactic history. Little did she know that the mysterious artifact would lead her and her newfound alien friends into a web of danger, intrigue, and a threat that would test not just her human ingenuity, but the very foundations of galactic society itself. As she made her way back to her quarters, the twin moons of Nexus Prime cast long shadows across the campus. In the distance, the gleaming spires of the university reached towards the star-studded sky, a reminder of the boundless possibilities that awaited in the vast, unknown universe. Zara Chen, the first human at Galactic University, fell asleep that night dreaming of strange artifacts and new frontiers, unaware that her greatest challenge, and humanity's greatest test, was just beginning. The brewing crisis. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of activity for Zara. Balancing her regular classes with the secret research project proved challenging, but exhilarating. Every spare moment was spent in a hidden laboratory deep beneath the university, studying the enigmatic artifact alongside Professor Zorax and a hand-picked team of alien scientists. The artifact, which they had nicknamed the Nexus, defied all known laws of physics. It was a geometrically perfect dodecahedron, roughly the size of a basketball, with a surface that seemed to shift and ripple like liquid metal. Most intriguingly, it appeared to emit a form of energy unlike anything recorded in the known universe. "It's as if it exists in multiple dimensions simultaneously," mused Priax, who had been brought onto the project for his expertise in quantum mechanics. Zara nodded, her eyes never leaving the mesmerizing object. "It reminds me of something, a puzzle box from Earth called a Rubik's Cube. You have to manipulate it in just the right way to solve it." Professor Zorax's antennae twitched with interest. "A human puzzle? Fascinating. Perhaps that's the key we've been missing. We've been approaching this from a purely scientific standpoint, but what if it requires a more playful touch?" Encouraged by Zorax's words, Zara began to approach the artifact as if it were indeed a complex puzzle. She spent hours observing its subtle shifts and changes, looking for patterns that might indicate a solution. It was during one of these late-night observation sessions that everything changed. Zara, bleary-eyed from lack of sleep, reached out to touch the artifact's surface. As her fingers made contact, a jolt of energy surged through her body. The room filled with a blinding light, and for a brief moment, Zara felt as if her consciousness had expanded to encompass the entire universe. When the light faded, Zara found herself on the floor, surrounded by her concerned alien colleagues. But more shocking than her fall was what now floated above them, a holographic projection of galactic proportions, showing star systems, nebulae, and what appeared to be wormholes connecting distant parts of the universe. "By the cosmic egg," Zorax whispered, his mandibles quivering in awe. "It's a map of everything." As the team pored over the holographic display, a chilling realization dawned on them. The map showed not just the known galaxy, but far beyond, into regions of space previously thought uninhabitable, and in those distant reaches, something was stirring. "These energy signatures," Priax chirped nervously, pointing to pulsing red areas on the map. "They're expanding, moving towards populated systems." Zix, whose multi-dimensional perception proved invaluable in interpreting the map, rippled with concern. "It's not just movement, it's consumption. Whatever these entities are, they're absorbing entire star systems as they advance." The implications were staggering. An unknown force was making its way through the universe, destroying everything in its path, and it was headed straight for the heart of galactic civilization. "We need to alert. We cannot rush blindly into conflict," argued Counselor Vex, a hyper-intelligent fungal collective. "This map could be a trap designed to lure us into a costly war." "And if we wait," countered Admiral Cora, a cybernetically enhanced warrior from a heavy-gravity world, "we risk losing everything. We must strike first, and strike hard." As the argument intensified, Zara felt a strange sensation. The energy she had absorbed from the artifact seemed to have changed her, enhancing her perception. She could almost see the threads of probabilities stretching out before them, each decision branching into countless possible futures. "Wait," she said, her voice cutting through the debate. All eyes turned to her. I think I can see a way forward, but you're not going to like it." Over the next hour, Zara outlined a plan so audacious, so contrary to conventional galactic wisdom, that it left her audience stunned. It involved not confrontation, not retreat, but a fundamental reimagining of how sentient species could interact with the fabric of spacetime itself. "It's preposterous," sputtered Counselor Vex. "It goes against every known law of physics." "So does the threat we're facing," Zara countered. "We can't fight this enemy with conventional weapons or strategies. We need to change the rules of the game entirely." As the implications of Zara's plan sank in, a tense silence fell over the room. It was Chancellor Zonthor who finally broke it. "What you propose is dangerous, untested, and could potentially cause more harm than the threat we face." The Chancellor's thoughts resonated gravely. Then, to everyone's surprise, the nebulous being seemed to smile. "It is also precisely the kind of innovative thinking that we hoped to foster when we opened our doors to new species like humanity. You have my support, human Zara." With the Chancellor's backing, preparations began immediately. Zara found herself at the center of a galactic-scale project, coordinating efforts between species that had been bitter rivals mere days ago. The fate of countless civilizations now rested on the shoulders of a 19-year-old human girl and her wild, impossible plan. As Zara worked tirelessly, pushing the boundaries of science and diplomacy, she couldn't help but reflect on how far she had come. She had arrived at Galactic University hoping to prove humanity's worth. Now, she was about to attempt something that would either save the galaxy or go down in history as its greatest folly. The twin suns of Nexus Prime sat on a galaxy teetering on the brink of crisis. In labs, war rooms, and council chambers across the stars, preparations were underway. And at the heart of it all was Zara Chen, the human girl who dared to challenge the very laws of the universe. Little did anyone know that the true test was yet to come, and that the key to survival might lie not in the stars, but in the uniquely human qualities that Zara brought to this cosmic stage. Human ingenuity unleashed. The following weeks saw Galactic University transformed into the nerve center of an unprecedented interstellar effort. The once quiet halls now buzzed with activity as scientists, engineers, and strategists from across the galaxy poured in, all united by a common purpose: to implement Zara's audacious plan. At the heart of this controlled chaos stood Zara herself, coordinating efforts with a level of focus and determination that surprised even her closest alien friends. The energy she had absorbed from the artifact seemed to have heightened her cognitive abilities, allowing her to grasp complex, multidimensional concepts with ease. "It's like I can see the underlying patterns of the universe," she explained to Kriax one day as they pored over holographic schematics. "Everything is connected in ways I never imagined before." Kriax's feathers ruffled with a mixture of concern and admiration. "Just be careful, Zara. No one fully understands the long-term effects of your exposure to the artifact." Zara nodded, acknowledging the risk. But there was no time for caution. The latest reports showed the unknown entity accelerating its consumption of star systems. They were in a race against time. The core of Zara's plan revolved around a radical idea. Instead of trying to fight the approaching threat directly, they would attempt to fundamentally alter the fabric of spacetime around it. By creating a network of quantum-entangled nodes throughout the galaxy, they hoped to essentially rewire the cosmic pathways the entity was using to travel and feed. "Think of it like changing the course of a river," Zara explained to the Galactic Council. "We're not damming it or trying to stop it. We're simply altering the path of least resistance, guiding it away from populated systems." The scale of the project was staggering. It required the cooperation of every major spacefaring civilization, many of whom had been bitter rivals for millennia. Zara found herself not just a scientist, but a diplomat, mediating disputes and finding common ground between species with wildly different physiologies and worldviews. One particularly tense moment came when the cybernetic Colluxar Collective insisted on using their advanced AI systems to manage the quantum network, a proposal vehemently opposed by the organically minded Cyrene Federation. "Your machines cannot be trusted with the fate of biological life," screeched the Cyrene ambassador, her feathers bristling with indignation. The Colluxar representative, a sleek humanoid figure of gleaming metal, responded with cold logic. "Our systems are free from organic error and emotional interference. They are the optimal choice." As the argument escalated, threatening to derail the entire project, Zara stepped in with a uniquely human solution. "What if we combine your approaches?" she suggested. "We can use the Colluxar AI for raw data processing and system management, but have organic operators from the Serene and other races making the final decisions. It's like a chess game where the computer suggests moves, but the human player decides which to make." The analogy, drawing from a game unknown to either species, took a moment to sink in, but gradually, both sides began to see the merit in the compromise. It was a pattern that repeated itself throughout the project, Zara's human perspective often providing the key to bridging seemingly insurmountable divides. As the days turned into weeks, the quantum network began to take shape. Massive space stations were constructed at strategic points throughout the galaxy, each housing technology that pushed the boundaries of known science. Zara worked tirelessly, her mind racing with calculations and possibilities. But as the project neared completion, a new challenge emerged. The network needed a central control point, a nexus to coordinate the mind-boggling amounts of data and energy flowing through the system. And that nexus, Zara realized with a mix of excitement and dread, would have to be her. "The artifact changed you," Professor Zorax explained, his compound eyes reflecting the glow of the holographic displays surrounding them. "You're the only one who can perceive and manipulate the quantum fields on the level we need." Zara understood the implications. By connecting herself directly to the network, she would be putting her mind and body under enormous strain. The risks were incalculable. "If we succeed," she said quietly, "it could change the course of galactic history. If we fail..." Kriax chirped softly, placing a feathered hand on her shoulder. "At least we'll have tried. You've already done more than anyone thought possible, Zara. You've united the galaxy in ways we never imagined." As the final preparations were made, Zara found herself standing before the Galactic Council one last time. Chancellor Zonfor's nebulous form seemed to pulse with a mix of emotions Zara couldn't quite decipher. "Human Zara Chen," the Chancellor's thoughts resonated. "When you first arrived at our university, many doubted the wisdom of including your species in our galactic community. You have proven those doubts not just unfounded, but foolish. Whatever the outcome of tomorrow's endeavor, know that you have earned humanity a place among the stars." Zara bowed her head, feeling the weight of not just her own species, but all sentient life in the galaxy resting upon her shoulders. As she raised her eyes to meet the gaze of the assembled leaders, she spoke with a determination that belied her youth. "Tomorrow, we attempt something never before conceived in the history of our universe. We do so not out of arrogance or a desire for power, but out of necessity and hope. Hope that together we can overcome any challenge, that the light of consciousness, in all its diverse forms, will continue to shine in the cosmic dark." A ripple of agreement passed through the council chamber. Species that had been bitter enemies now stood united, ready to face an existential threat together. As Zara left the chamber to make her final preparations, she couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought her to this moment. She had come to Galactic University as a student, eager to learn. Now, she stood at the precipice of either saving the galaxy or going down in history as the architect of its greatest folly. The twin moons of Nexus Prime cast long shadows across the university grounds as Zara made her way to the control center. Tomorrow would decide the fate of countless civilizations. But tonight, in the quiet before the storm, Zara allowed herself a moment of peace, gazing up at the stars she had come to love, and the billions of lives twinkling in their light. Whatever happened next, the universe would never be the same, and neither would she. Triumph of Unity. The day of reckoning dawned on Nexus Prime, its twin suns casting an eerie, anticipatory glow across the sprawling complex that housed the heart of the quantum network. Zara stood at the center of the control room, surrounded by a dizzying array of holographic displays and alien technology. Her friends and colleagues, Kriax, Zix, Professor Zorax, and others, monitored various stations, their faces etched with a mixture of hope and trepidation. "All systems are online," reported a Coluxar technician, its metallic voice resonating through the chamber. "Quantum entanglement stable across all nodes." Zara took a deep breath, steeling herself for what was to come. "Initiate final sequence," she commanded, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. As the countdown began, Zara stepped onto a raised platform at the center of the room. Tendrils of energy began to coalesce around her, linking her mind directly to the vast network they had created. The sensation was overwhelming, billions of data points flooding her consciousness, the very fabric of space-time seeming to bend and flex around her. Through the quantum link, Zara could sense the approaching threat more clearly than ever before. It was a vast, unknowable entity, a cosmic predator that consumed entire star systems in its relentless advance, and it was headed straight for the heart of the galaxy. With a final nod to her friends, Zara closed her eyes and immersed herself fully in the network. Her consciousness expanded, racing along quantum pathways that spanned the galaxy. She could feel the delicate balance of forces at play, the intricate dance of subatomic particles that held the universe together. And then, with a thought that resonated across light years, she began to reshape reality itself. The effect was immediate and staggering. Across the galaxy, space itself began to ripple and shift. Star systems that had been in the path of the oncoming threat suddenly found themselves moved to safety, transported through carefully crafted wormholes. The entity, sensing the change, tried to adjust its course, but everywhere it turned, it found its path altered, redirected away from populated areas. In the control room, alarms blared as the strain on the system intensified. Power fluctuations detected in sectors 7 through 13, reported Zix, its multi-dimensional form shimmering with anxiety. "Divert auxiliary power," Kriax squawked, his feathers ruffled with tension. "We can't lose those nodes." Zara, deep in her trance-like state, heard their voices as if from a great distance. She was everywhere and nowhere, her mind stretched to its limits as she manipulated the very laws of physics. But even as she worked, she could feel something changing within her. The human part of her consciousness began to fade, overwhelmed by the vastness of the cosmos. "We're losing her." Professor Zorax's panicked voice cut through the chaos. "Her vital signs are destabilizing." For a moment, it seemed as though all might be lost. The entity, sensing weakness, redoubled its efforts to break through the quantum barriers. Zara felt herself slipping away, her identity dissolving into the cosmic tapestry. But then, just as hope seemed lost, something remarkable happened. Through the quantum link, Zara felt a surge of something. It wasn't energy, not in the physical sense. It was emotion, hope, determination, the collective will of billions of sentient beings across the galaxy, all focused on this moment, on her. In that instant, Zara understood. The artifact hadn't just given her the ability to manipulate quantum fields, it had connected her to the very essence of consciousness itself. And in tapping into that collective consciousness, she found the strength to complete her task. With a final, monumental effort, Zara reshaped the quantum pathways one last time. The entity, caught in a web of altered space-time, found itself trapped in a closed loop, forever circling a dead sector of space, harmless and contained. As the realization of victory spread across the control room, cheers and alien sounds of jubilation erupted. But on the central platform, Zara's body collapsed, the strain finally taking its toll. The next few days passed in a blur of medical procedures and debriefings. When Zara finally regained full consciousness, she found herself in a room overlooking the sprawling campus of Galactic University. Chancellor Zomthor's nebulous form hovered nearby, along with representatives from dozens of alien races. Human Zara Chen, the Chancellor's thoughts resonated warmly. You have done the impossible. Not only have you saved countless civilizations, but you have ushered in a new era of galactic cooperation. Zara, still weak but clear-minded, managed a smile. I couldn't have done it alone, she said softly. It was the unity of all our species that made this possible. In the days that followed, as news of the averted crisis spread across the galaxy, Zara found herself hailed as a hero on countless worlds. But more importantly, she saw the beginnings of real change. Species that had been bitter enemies for millennia now worked together, inspired by the examples set during the crisis. The quantum network, initially created as a defensive measure, was repurposed for peaceful applications. It revolutionized interstellar travel and communication, bringing the far-flung corners of the galaxy closer together than ever before. As for Zara herself, she knew she could never return to being just another student. The artifact had changed her fundamentally, giving her insights into the nature of reality that few beings in the universe could comprehend. But rather than setting her apart, this new understanding only deepened her connection to all forms of life. In a ceremony attended by representatives from every known sentient species, Zara was appointed as the first human ambassador to the Galactic Council. As she stood before the assembled dignitaries, she thought back to that first day at Galactic University, when she had been nothing more than a curious, slightly overwhelmed Earth girl. We stand at the dawn of a new age, Zara addressed the council, her voice carrying the weight of her experiences. An age where the boundaries between species, between civilizations, even between the physical and the quantum, are blurring. We have faced our greatest threat not through force of arms, but through unity, creativity, and the indomitable spirit that all sentient beings share. As applause, and various alien approximations of it, filled the chamber, Zara felt a profound sense of purpose. She had come to Galactic University seeking to prove humanity's worth among the stars. In the end, she had done far more than that. She had shown that when diverse species came together, combining their unique strengths and perspectives, there was no challenge too great to overcome. The twin suns of Nexus Prime set on a galaxy forever changed, and as Zara gazed out at the star-filled sky, she knew that this was not an ending, but a beginning. The true adventure, for her, for humanity, and for all sentient life in the cosmos, was just starting. In the vastness of space, countless civilizations looked to the future with hope, united by the knowledge that together, they could face whatever the universe might throw their way. And at the heart of it all was a human girl who had dared to dream big, proving that sometimes the most extraordinary solutions come from the most unexpected places. The story of Zara Chen, the human who reshaped the galaxy, would be told for generations to come. But for Zara herself, it was just the first chapter in an epic tale of cosmic proportions. The universe, in all its infinite mystery, awaited.